What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday, happy NFL Sunday to every single person in here. Thanks for tuning in to our NBA official live stream. Cannot wait to break down the 7-game slate. Couple of things we want to go over before we jump right into the stream. First of all, Nate God, you were the winner of our last night's giveaway of $20 on a live stream. We approached 380 viewers, the most overall, and you won the giveaway because we were so hyped about it. If you could just send us a DM with picture proof that you are signed into YouTube with your username, we will be more than happy to give you that $20. Just wanted to get that quickly out of the way. By the way, if you guys could do us all a favor and smash that like button, we realize if you guys smash the like button, we actually get more views. So if you want to help out the channel, help out this community, please do so by starting out and smashing that like button. Also, we're going to do another $10 giveaway today because we're feeling very generous just to show, our appreciation for everybody in here. $10 to my favorite contrarian play will stay on the exact same theme today. And again, I don't even know my favorite contrarian play. As we go throughout, I'm going to look over the ownerships. I'm going to make an educated guess. Just spam the chat with your favorite contrarian play. First person to get it, I will be giving $10 away. Again, we have to have you send your DM with picture proof that you're signed into YouTube over to us. All right, just make sure you do that, and we will be happy to give that $10 away. By the way, we're getting spammed with new subscribers. Brian, thank you so much for the subscription. TJ, what's going on, man? How are things going over there? We know that TJ had to change his setup here real quick.
Yes, my girlfriend has a couple of her friends over, so I am in the bedroom doing it old school like Matt and I used to do before I had my setup. Matt, one thing I just want to say real quick. So Nate God, if you are in here, just comment your Twitter handle here and we can actually reach out to you. And I think that's an easier way, Matt. Whoever does win, if they're in the chat still, they can just send us their Twitter handle through the comments.
It says that the audio is messed up in the chat.
Sounds like my audio might be messing up.
No, you're fine. It says that what's up?
So it might be you. I was saying you sounded like a robot a little bit.
Okay. Well, let me know if I do sound like a robot. Still, I just plugged back in. Still should be fine. It looks like the audio is working on my end here. TJ's new mic is going to definitely throw things through a loop here, but we tried to give you guys the best quality. Let us know if we have any issues with the audio. Looks like you guys are letting us know here. But let's go ahead and dive right into the slate, TJ. We just had news that KCP and Alex Caruso are out for the Lakers. That was the last-minute injury news that we just received. Do you want to go ahead and start there with the Lakers?
Yeah, so we just got news. So Caruso has been out, but we just got some big news that KCP, who's been starting at the 2 for the Lakers, will now sit against Memphis tonight. A 220 over-under that we're seeing right now between the Lakers and Memphis, and definitely going after or targeting against Memphis guards are what we'd like to do here. So I'm looking at some of this Lakers value now that has opened up. KCP is a guy that's been getting 24 to 26 minutes a night. So that's going to definitely open up some value here. And the one guy that I'm looking at and where the ownership is going to be Talon Horton-Tucker. Currently projected at 20 minutes. We know the preseason that he had, Matt, for the Lakers. He was absolutely fantastic. Hasn't gotten the minutes so far to start this year. In the one game where he did eclipse the 20-minute mark, he played exactly 20 minutes. He went for 26 Draftkings points. And on a slate where you're really looking to pay up, I feel like it's going to be a stars and scrubs type build. So I think Talon Horton really offers some salary relief at 3,100. And then given the sample size that we have here on Court IQ, I just want to pull it up real quick. It is a limited sample size, but Talon Horton gets a 3.4% usage bump with both Caruso and KCP off the floor. He's a 1.29 fantasy point per minute and garners a 25% usage rate. Now that is only in 55 minutes. So again, a limited sample size, but maybe a little peek into what we could potentially see tonight. So I really like Talon Horton. I think he's going to carry a lot of ownership. And I think he's a really good cash option at 3,100.
My only hesitation is how many minutes is Horton-Tucker really going to play? What do you have him pinned at, 20 to 21 minutes?
Yeah, so he's currently pegged at 20. And again, Matt, a slate where I am looking to pay up for a couple studs, I might take the chance. He's showing 46% ownership currently on Roto. Before that ownership went up, I said I would expect him to be chalky because he was at 0.01 before Roto updated it. I didn't expect him to shoot to the top that fast. But yeah, he's currently showing the highest owned player for tournaments on Roto.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am behind him, but again, like limited upside, you got to think in terms of minutes. But I like your direction that you're going with cash, $3,100. I'm not going to go away from that price tag. I do believe in the price tag there. It presents a ton of value. 21 minutes, and we know what he did in the preseason was an absolute monster, averaging, you said 1.21 fantasy points per minute through the regular season. So I think, you know, if he gets more minutes, definitely going to be intrigued by him as we go along in the season. But right now he's projected at 21 minutes. We'll see how he performs tonight. And again, in a favorable matchup, a team to target, like you said, against the Memphis Grizzlies. Anybody else that you're looking at in terms of this roster?
I do like LeBron with KCP off the floor. I think it's a pretty generous price tag too at 10-1. His sample size is obviously a little bit greater just because he's obviously played more minutes than Talon Horton-Tucker. So he gets a 3.8% usage bump, Matt. He's averaging 1.56 fantasy points per minute and a 37% usage rate with both Caruso and KCP off the floor. So he actually equates to a 5.45 on our sheet, which is pretty good for somebody that's a 10.1K. So I'm interested in him. Dennis Schroeder is somebody that I could also see myself rostering. But for those two guys, it's probably going to be more of tournament plays. I think there's better options for cash tonight if you're spending up besides LeBron. But I think he's going to be a good pivot off of guys like Luka and Jokic who might carry some ownership. So yeah, in terms of cash, no. The only guy I'm really looking at is going to be Talon Horton-Tucker. All these other guys are going to be tournament plays for me.
Yeah, right now the ownership has not updated on Horton-Tucker for me, but you can only assume, I think you had him pinned at what, 40% owned?
46%.
46, yeah. So he's definitely going to be one of the highest owned players on the slate. Still waiting for Fantasy Cruncher update here for me. All
and we're still waiting on some pretty big injury news too. So
yeah, we're still pending a ton of injury news. Do you actually want to go over that real quick? So right now we have Karl Anthony Towns out for Minnesota. That's still a thing. We are pending injury news on Dallas. Dallas is huge with Doncic. He could go either way at this point. That's what it's making it sound like here. But Doncic, game time decision. Right now, LaMarcus Aldridge from San Antonio is a game time decision. That shouldn't impact it too much. However, we are on somebody like DeRozan with his price tag. For the Memphis Grizzlies, Grayson Allen still questionable. Is that correct?
No, he's available.
He's available now. Got it.
Him and Melton are both available today.
Got it. And with Brooklyn, we still have Dinwiddie out. Any more injuries that we're waiting for? Derek Favors is... What's that?
I mean, LeBron's technically questionable. He's been questionable for the last 3 games with the ankle, but he's played, so I don't expect that to change. Yeah, you said Aldridge. Aldridge is a big one. Luka's a big one. And we have everything else squared away in terms of who will be sitting. Yeah, Derek Favors too. I don't think that affects much though.
Yeah, Luka's the biggest one. If Luka is ruled out, guys, please load up on the Dallas Mavericks. I was about to say Cowboys. Don't load up on the Cowboys, please. Let's go ahead. If we could switch this as a more chalk place here. So in terms of ownership, let's actually go to the Denver Nuggets, if you go in that direction, in a very high-paced game. Denver Nuggets are without MPJ and Whittington, technically. Where are you looking in terms of ownership here for cash games for the Denver Nuggets? Oh, I think we're losing them.
I really like Jokic.
There we go. Are you good? Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. I really like Jokic tonight as a cash play with Michael Porter off the floor. He's definitely a guy that I'm going to make a priority, especially going up against Naz Reid, who is putrid defensively. So Jokic at 10-6, I really like. I don't care about the price tag. Both of these teams have been horrible defensively to start the year. They ranked 28th and 29th in the NBA in defense efficiency. So we're looking at Jokic, who's averaging 1.63 fantasy points per minute with Michael Porter off the floor. Rates out to a 5.54 on our sheet map, which again at 10-6 is a very good value. I have him pegged right now at 58.7 DraftKings points. So I believe that Jokic could and should pay off that price tag handsomely. Another guy that I'd be interested in, but more tournaments, is probably going to be Jamal Murray at 7,200. He gets a 2.6% usage bump and a 1.19 fantasy point per minute. Again, that's a little skewed because that sample size is only 85 minutes. And he did play 40 minutes last game without Michael Porter against Phoenix, and he went for 48 DraftKings points. So I don't know if the 1.2 fantasy point per minute holds true, but I think he's a good tournament play. In terms of cash, though, like I don't want to get too far away from the beaten path that we're going on. Paul Millsap is a guy I think that you can get as a plug and play at 4,500. He gets a 5% usage bump with Michael Porter off the floor, 0.95 fantasy point per minute. So not too high of a fantasy point per minute, but with the minutes that he's seeing at 4,500, I think he's a cheap option. And then some ownership is also going to Will Barton, a guy that could play, 35 minutes if this game stays competitive against Minnesota. 0.82 fantasy point per minute with Michael Porter off the floor. So definitely some value here. I'm really leaning toward Jokic. I think my second favorite play would probably be Millsap, and I really like Jamal Murray as a tournament play. PJ Dozier was carrying some ownership earlier, but more of a tournament play as well.
Yeah,
so I think there's some good cash options here today.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to think this is a pace-up spot for the Denver Nuggets and an absolute smash spot specifically for Jokic. We talked about in our video a little bit earlier. I think Jokic is almost a must as a last-minute option. Honestly, even more so than Doncic. I know that's very tough to say. I would love to get both of those guys in there if there is if there's more value that opens up throughout the night. But Jokic, 10.6K, has no reason not to smash value, especially against Naz Reid. I want to pause the stream, guys. If you could, just hit that like button. Yesterday we got 380 people viewing at one time just because of it. That was the most we've ever had. Let's try to beat that today. Right now we have over 150. We really do appreciate the support. Let's keep this going, guys. This community is amazing. Every single one of you guys is absolutely amazing. And we're also doing a $10 giveaway for those who are late to the party. Spam the chat with your favorite contrarian play. I will pick the winner at the very end. First person to guess it, I will be sending $10. Again, when I announce whoever the winner is, please take a picture of the screen that you're signed into YouTube, send it over to Twitter in a DM, and then we will give you our $10. Feeling generous today. All right, TJ, so where are we going next in terms of cash?
Where are we going next in terms of cash, Matt? That is, we probably need to go to, in terms of ownership, probably Chicago. Chicago's looking like they got some high own guys.
Yeah, okay, Let's start there. So technically, Zach LaVine is carrying the highest ownership here, 7.3K. That was one guy that passed the eye test early on in our video. 7.3 is just way too cheap for this guy. Garnering the highest owned and usage rate on the entire team, surpassing 32% usage. I really do like him. When he keeps it close and really close games, he always slams value at a 7.3K price tag. Do you like Zach LaVine tonight in cash?
Yeah, I think you can use LaVine tonight as a last piece. Again, a lot of this cash talk that we are talking about dictates whether or not Luka is in or out.
Sure.
But I think Zach LaVine is fine at 7,300. With Archie Diacono, Hutchinson, Markkanen, and Satoransky off the floor. LaVine's averaging 1.16 fantasy points per minute and a 30% usage rate. 5.7 on a sheet. I have him pegged right now at 41.3 DraftKings points. And again, if this game can stay competitive, it's only a 6-point spread in favor of Dallas. If Luka's out, that's only going to let Chicago be more competitive in this game. So I definitely think LaVine is an option. Kuzma will start for KCP. Okay. So I definitely think he's a pretty solid option at 7,300. Otto Porter is a guy that sticks out well on the sheet, but I don't know if I'd get there at 6,200. I think the next guy that I would go to is going to be Thad Young. 0.92 fantasy points per minute, only $3,900. I think he offers great salary relief along with THT now with that Lakers news, so that you can get up and play a Starzy and Scrubs type lineup. Yeah. Both of them carrying the most ownership for the Bulls, and that's where I'm definitely looking in cash tonight.
And it's just with Thaddeus Young and Zach LaVine. Are you looking anywhere else in cash for these guys?
Nope.
All right. Do you like Otto Porter? Averaging 1.21 fantasy points per minute with the current injuries off the court, garnering a 9.8% ownership, which is very under the radar. I do like him as a contrarian pick, especially with some of these other Bulls. Kobe White also playing over 36 minutes a game, 6.2K. Definitely like him at a 22.6% ownership. Could fit into your cash lineup if you do land on him. Don't hate that. Just all these injuries are still out for the Chicago Bulls. If Doncic is out, I would expect this line on Vegas to get a little bit closer, more competitive, which benefits guys like Zach LaVine, benefits Kobe White, and also Thaddeus Young because they all play starter minutes. So, moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the fireworks show here with Washington and Brooklyn. That will be on my TV all night because this is going to be a fun game to watch. Starting with Russell Westbrook at 18.5% on the Washington side. Thomas Bryant at 6.6K at 5.1%. Are you playing any one of these guys for cash?
I don't think so, but I think I have more interest in the Brooklyn side of the ball. We've seen what Russ has done in the games that he's played so far for Washington, and he's been absolutely electric. He's paid off his price tag in each of the 4 games that he's played so far this year. He's got a 34% usage rate on the season. 33% usage rate on the season. It's been very efficient for Washington. And, his price tag at 10-2 is very cheap. I think he's going to be a good contrarian play going off of guys like Luka, if Luka's good, and Jokic, who are carrying the ownership right now. I have Russ showing at 1% ownership, Matt. I don't expect that to be accurate.
No, that's not true.
Yeah. What do you have him at currently?
I have him at 19%.
Okay, yeah, that sounds a little bit better. Yeah, I'm seeing all these guys on Roto so low owned, so I really like them for tournaments. If they can keep it competitive against Brooklyn and the highest over under, they're currently 8-point dogs, excuse me. So it is going to be an uphill battle going up against Brooklyn, but we fully expect some points to be scored. So I really have some high tournament plays here, but I don't really have anything in terms of cash. But I wouldn't mind any of these guys as like a last piece if you are landing on it, because there is some serious upside.
Yeah, no, completely agree with you. Again, this is a 7-point spread. It should not get out of hand. Of course, we say that about every matchup, and then it ends up being a blowout. So Washington, about to say football team, Washington Wizards are in a great spot for fireworks here against the Brooklyn Nets. So let's go ahead and switch over to the Brooklyn Nets. I know you like some of the plays there. Kevin Durant showing at 14.6% ownership, TLC at 12.5%, and then Kyrie Irving at 11.9%. Are you considering any one of these guys for cash?
KD,
okay.
Said it the last, I think, 3 nights, or the last 2 slates that he's been on. Yeah, I really like KD again at 9,300. I still think that's fairly too cheap for him. I fully expect him to pay off that price tag tonight going up against Washington. I have him showing 30% ownership, Matt, and you said
14.6. Yep.
Okay, so I think he's gonna end up being a little bit higher than that. I think he's a really good cash option. With Spencer Dinwiddie off the floor, he's averaging 1.43 fantasy points per minute this year, 31% usage rate, which is second highest on the team, behind Kyrie, who's at a 31.7. So again, it's do you want to go Durant? Do you want to go Kyrie? And I'm going to continue to go Kevin Durant if he's within the same vicinity in terms of pricing with Kyrie. So that's where I'm leaning. I think if I am going to play anybody in cash, it's going to be Kevin Durant at 9,300.
I completely agree with you. I also really like Kyrie Irving's price tag at 9K. It's coming back down, and Kevin Durant's starting to take more shots, so therefore keeping the ownership down on somebody like Kyrie Irving. But as you guys know, it's one or the other every single night in terms of a ceiling play. Of course, anyone can get it done. I do really expect that Kyrie Irving's going to be a little bit lower owned. He's showing 12% ownership here. Do you have any interest in somebody like Karis LeVert for tournaments or cash?
Not for cash. I think I'd rather go Kyrie for tournaments too. I mean, he just hasn't been efficient shooting the ball lately. If he can hit some of these shots, then yeah, he's going to be able to pay off that 9K price tag easily against Washington. I have LeVert at 1% owned. So yeah, as a tournament play, I'll have some interest in him. But he hasn't looked good as of late. Obviously, he had that 60 bomb against Memphis, but besides that, it's been kind of subpar coming off the bench. A guy like Joe Harris in these types of game, Matt, guys that can knock down threes, I would have some interest in him in tournaments, but besides that, not really. I know you might have some interest in a guy like TLC, but I just don't like what I've seen when he's in the starting lineup next to Kyrie and KD. His usage is a lot different than him coming off the bench, obviously playing with the second unit. He hasn't been very efficient. He hasn't played too many minutes. So I like TLC more as a filler when a guy like KD or Kyrie is out. But when they're both on the floor with TLC, I just don't see I don't see myself rostering him in cash.
Sure, and his ownership's actually relatively high, 12.5%, which is actually higher than I thought. $3,300, though, for a guy that's playing 26 minutes is never bad, even if he's taking a backseat to somebody like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I don't really like him for tournaments, but I like him more for cash as a last-minute piece, because, again, $3,300, you got to go out of your way to not hit that price tag, which he's actually done the past 2 contests. So
he's been pretty good at that lately.
Yeah, but against the Washington Wizards, again, it's going to be very, very tough not to hit that price tag. I'm ready for round 3 of TLC playing with the starters. In terms of cash,
I might have to play him if to build the lineup that I want to.
And I don't hate it. Like I said, I think he has decent upside, but again, the usage does change with him being in the starting lineup. All right, let's talk about this Memphis Grizzlies picture now with Grayson Allen now available to play technically. So I don't know how many minutes he's going to get, but with Memphis, let's go ahead and talk about all their injuries, pretty much everybody. But Melton is back, playing about 20 minutes in this contest. Jackson, Morant, Porter, Tilly, and Winslow are all out for these guys. Do you have any interest in Memphis Grizzlies for cash?
I mean, I would have interest in some of the guards if Melton wasn't back, but Melton being back, I think that throws a fork.
He's a good player.
In some usage. Guys, no. Guys like Dylan Brooks, I think it obviously affects. Concher coming off the bench, he won't see his minutes. Desmond Bane won't see the minutes that he's been seeing. Grayson Allen kind of takes a little bit of a hit too. So I wouldn't mind like Kyle Anderson at 6,400. Not a cash play, but more of a tournament play. Same thing with Dylan Brooks. Honestly, Melton could potentially sneak into my cash lineup. I just got to make sure his minutes are going to be solidified. We haven't seen him since opening night against the Spurs. But at 3,700, it's a guy that can pay off his price tag quickly. So, I don't have any cash plays here, but if I landed on one of those three guys I just mentioned, in Brooks, Anderson, and Melton, I guess I wouldn't hate it. But I do think there's better value out there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And you got to look at the over-under. Right now, it's at 219.5, which is actually the second lowest on the slate and also the biggest spread. If there's going to be a game that should blow out today, it should be the Lakers blowing out Memphis, okay, if there is one. Now, again, I tell you guys not to base your predictions on whether it's going to be a blowout or not, unless it's above 20 points or something crazy like that. But again, 219.5, limited upside. I don't like the price tags in any one of these guys. We know that they are all inflated based on the injuries. With Melton back, he definitely will eat into that usage. Just a high usage guy in general, and takes a lot of shots. Melton's a good basketball player, playing 21 minutes in his first contest. $3,700. I actually don't hate Melton, so we'll see how that goes. But let's go ahead and move on. Are there any more cash options here on this slate?
I think Steph's in play. They just got to keep it competitive, man. I think he can pay off that 9,400 price tag if he gets some good run in the fourth quarter in a game where they're not trailing. That would probably be the only other guy. But again, I think if Luka's good to go, you're probably picking between you're probably going to have 2 of 4, I would assume, being Luka, Steph, Nikola Jokic, and KD. And like I said, if Luka's good to go, I'm probably leaning Luka and Jokic right now. But I do think Steph is viable at 9,400. I think you can have a lineup with 3 of those 4 that I just mentioned. And I think the 2 that you would have to choose between would probably be Steph and KD. But no, I don't think anybody else. Gobert's cheap at 7,200. He's carrying some ownership. I don't hate him. Ricky Rubio, again, Minnesota and Denver have been putrid defensively so far. He's 5K. He's been abysmal to start the year in Minnesota, but the price tag is so cheap. This is a guy that was, mid 7Ks at some point last year for Phoenix. Different dynamic there in Minnesota, but he's carrying some ownership. And then, if Aldridge is out, that's going to change up some things. I would definitely make DeMar a priority.
Even against Utah.
And then Ibaka, like we talked about, at 5,700, I think he's really cheap. But yeah, I think the cash plays are the ones that we already went over. So.
No, I completely agree with you. Let's actually switch gears to some GPP options. While we're on Minnesota, they are all GPP options. D'Angelo Russell here at $7,400 has gotten that price decrease, has gotten off to a horrible start, and they're projected to score 109 points. And I just really like all these price tags on all these guys, which you talked about. Naz Reid at 5,500. D'Lo was almost approaching 8K at one point in the season here. We have Anthony Edwards, an emerging star here, 25.5 projected minutes right now. I love all these price tags. Ricky Rubio, you just talked about $5,000. It's just about finding that groove. Right now, they've been in all blowout games so far, so they really haven't gotten a chance to really prove themselves in full minutes. D'Lo being one of those guys. I know he's been just putrid, and it's really on his back. But if the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to keep it close, it's going to be because of D'Lo, and I really like him as a contrarian play, at least in this matchup. GPP options, though. Where do you want to go?
Anywhere, wherever you want to go.
All right, let's go to the Clippers, because I know you like some of the plays there. All the ownership is very, very low on these guys. Do you want to go ahead and talk about Kawhi?
Yeah, Kawhi was one of my favorite GPP plays the other night when he was at 9,200 going up against Utah. I went for 62 DraftKings points in a competitive game, almost played 39 minutes, almost had a triple-double as well. His ownership, Matt, I have him at 1%. I would assume he's a little bit higher than that. I'm not too sure what you have him at
about
currently.
5%.
Okay. 1.49 fantasy point per minute on the year so far. 29% usage rate, second highest on the team behind Paul George, who's at a 30.6% usage rate. Paul George also at 87% or 8,700 while I'm talking about him. 1.35 fantasy point per minute to start the year. So I think both those guys showing very low ownership are really good contrarian plays tonight. I think they make for some really good tournament plays. And what could be a pretty competitive game against Phoenix, who's 5-1 to start the year. So they're doing something right, even with Booker being really bad. Not really bad, more efficient, less shots. So they're winning, so it doesn't really matter at this point. Whatever gets the job done. Batum at 4,800, showing 3% ownership. Lou Williams, $4,600. It just, these price tags are really low. I really like Serge Ibaka as well. Serge at 5,700, averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute right now, 24% usage rate, so third highest on the team, just behind those two studs. So I think there's obviously with Marcus Morris still being out. So I think there's some really good values here. And I think there's some fantastic tournament plays in the Clippers. Again, a lower over under. So I might have some more interest in some of those, in that Portland Golden State game, depending on ownership. But yeah, I think there's some really good plays in LA.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Kawhi Leonard, 9.6K. I don't know why people just don't like playing him. As a late night hammer, he's always carrying low ownership, and he's always very efficient. I think he makes for another great contrarian play, especially off of somebody like Doncic and some of the other options like Jokic that we talked about earlier and your last util spot. Just a straight up good pivot. Batum, yeah, like you said, $4,800 just has been pretty consistent to start the season. And Ibaka, coming off two very good games, came back down to earth and only played 23 and 22 minutes in the games before that. But again, it was a very bad defensive matchup versus Utah. It gets a little bit better of a matchup here versus Phoenix against Ayton. So I do like the matchup a little bit better there. Let's switch over to Phoenix. You were talking about Booker, $7,700. Are you going to pay for Booker yet?
Nope, not yet. I mean, he's going to snap off one of these games.
Yeah.
That price tag just keeps dropping. He was 9,800 that second game against Sacramento, so he's almost down $2,000. Again, he hasn't been playing that bad. He just hasn't really been putting up as many shots as we're used to seeing Devin Booker put up. But he has been efficient, and they've been winning. So whatever they're doing out there in Phoenix is working. They don't need Booker to put up 25 shots a game. So, I don't really have too much interest in this Phoenix side. I don't hate Mikal Bridges at 5,800 showing low ownership. Jay Crowder at 4,900. I feel like one of them will have a pretty solid game tonight. So, yeah, I have way more interest in the Clippers side of the ball than I do for Phoenix tonight.
All right, Ayton is my favorite GPP play from this team, $7,100 for reasons we talked about in the video. He hasn't eclipsed 30 minutes yet to start the season. Got 37 last time, and look what he did with it in a good matchup, a bad matchup for him against Jokic, and still did it. So I really do like his upside. If he plays the full minutes against the Clippers, they're going to need him. They're going to need him against a very bad matchup in the Clippers. So definitely like that. I know it's a little bit lower of an over-under, but let's go to a higher scoring affair here with Portland and Golden State. Talk about a late night hammer, a 235.5 over under, the second highest on the slate. Let's talk about Portland first. We have a lot of value here with Covington and Derrick Jones. Do they spark your interest in cash at all?
No, not in cash. Not with Gary Trent being back. I think he affects their usage a little bit there. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Covington at 5K. He's showing 17% ownership. If you do land there, I don't hate it. But I would rather have Covington over DJJ. A guy like Nurkic is interesting. So we saw him go up against Golden State just 2 nights ago. He was in foul trouble the entire game. Only played 18 minutes, but still had 23 DraftKings points in his time, 26% usage rate. So if Nurkic at 6,400 can stay out of foul trouble, I think he's in a smash spot against Golden State. And he might be one of my favorite tournament plays. Again, needs to stay out of foul trouble, has to stay on the floor. But I think he could have a huge night, big double-double night from Nurk. So he might honestly be my favorite tournament play here. CJ has just been absolutely balling out these first, 5 games for Portland. He's had just as high a usage rate as Dame, which is some, kind of surprising, I guess I would say. So at 8,400, I really like him as a tournament play. Dame, again, he was just shooting threes from the logo at Golden State. I really like him as a nice pivot off of some of these higher price guys carrying ownership like Luka, like Jokic. So at 9,800, I also have interest in him in tournaments, but I think Nurkic is honestly going to be my favorite tournament play. Yeah. Again, most of his game just dictates or it's dependent on him staying on the floor. Obviously, that's probably the most obvious statement I've ever made, but he's got to stay out of foul trouble going up against Wiseman down low, the likes of Draymond Green, etc. So if he can stay out of foul trouble at 6,400, I really like him.
Yeah, I really do think this is going to be a battle of the point guards. It's going to be a Dame and Steph show, and with everybody coming out and calling Steph now overrated apparently because he can't carry this horrible Golden State team, definitely has something to prove now in this season. So definitely love the matchup here between the no defensive point guards. So a 235.5 over under, like I said, is the second highest on the slate. I really, really like Damian Lillard here as a late night smash spot against the Golden State Warriors. Switching over to the Warriors, do you like anybody else but Steph, TJ? That is my question for you. No?
Nope, I don't. I only would have interest in Steph. Draymond again going to be on a minute restriction. I guess I wouldn't mind Wiseman, but his minutes are getting eaten by likes of Draymond, Pascal, Looney. So yeah, I think Steph's my only interest, man. It's all I've really seen. Like Wiggins hasn't been good, Oubre hasn't been good. Again, mixing Draymond back into the starting lineup. So they're going to depend on Steph, and he needs to be more reliable, I guess would be the word I would use. So
yeah.
If they can stay competitive, Steph could have a huge night, and that's kind of what we're looking for. But at 9,400, I do like him a lot.
Yeah, and again, this spread is at 4 points, so they expect this to be relatively close.
Yep.
Do you have any interest in Draymond Green for tournaments with him only playing 18 minutes in the first matchup?
No.
I do think this is a Clint Capella type thing. I think he's going to play more minutes in this game, but I still don't like him at that 5.8K price tag. I think that's a little bit too high for me. I'd say about 25 to 30 minutes if I had to guess. Should be, like I said, more competitive. By the way, we got a nice donation from our man Sean. How about them Sixers? Yep, Sixers look good. Joel Embiid looks good. They look motivated, which was something we didn't expect. So thanks again, man, for the $5 donation.
Playoff.
What's that?
I said just wait till playoffs.
Yeah, just wait till playoffs. No hate from TJ. Also, guys, if you are late to the party, we are doing a $10 giveaway.
Doubtful.
What's that?
Luka is doubtful.
Doubtful. Here
Drop
we go.
Everything.
Here we go. All right, so we're gonna switch gears here to the Dallas Mavericks in just a second. Before we move over, though, guys, spam the chat with your favorite contrarian play. I already have my favorite contrarian play. I will be giving $10 out to whoever gets it. It is a free $10 donut. We're gonna try to get over our 380 viewer count by the end of the stream. Hopefully, we can hit that. It's gonna be tough on an NFL Sunday. So again, spam the chat with your favorite contrarian play. What's that?
56 likes. Okay.
56 likes.
I'm going to say it now, Matt.
All?
This gets 150 likes. I'll give out another $20.
All right. 150
likes.
Let's
Thank
do it.
God, you still need to claim your $20 that we're still trying to give you. So if you're in here, please drop your Twitter handle in the YouTube comments so we can give it out. But again, this gets 150 likes. I'll do it again. I'll give out another $20 to the stream.
So as we're going through the Dallas picture real quick, TJ, how do you feel? Because this is this is a similar type of roster we saw last season. Do you want to compute numbers based on this season plus last season, or do you just want to look at this season?
Well, let me look at the sample size. The one guy that I'd be really interested in to see is going to be probably Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
I also am going to be really interested in Trey Burke, especially if Luka is now doubtful. So obviously we can assume that Luka is going to sit. I just want to see what it looks like last two seasons, because Jalen is
Doncic probably won't play, guys. Keep that in mind.
DeLon Wright is somebody that we need to take off, obviously, because he was very good with Luka off the floor last year, and he is a Piston. DeLon Wright, we'll be seeing you, pal. Okay, not Darrell, right? I need DeLon, right? Okay, there are way too many people with the last name Wright in the National Basketball Association.
All right, so I did some quick numbers here, and I ran both this season and last season, guys. Tim Hardaway Jr. gets the biggest usage boost and 0.13 fantasy points per minute boost. Seth Curry, who's no longer on the roster, I should probably take him out as well. Let me go ahead and do that real quick.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing Seth, and I'm doing DeLon Wright.
Yep.
So it's Seth.
They're both good players. Wow, this is going to be a very bad game just in general to watch.
I just constructed my lineup, and I actually liked it, and now I have to go back, which is okay. And this is the way it is. So, all right, let's see here. Yeah, so with Luka, Porzingis, and then obviously we have to take off Seth Curry and DeLon Wright because they were huge. They were huge factors when both of those guys were off the floor last year. Tim Hardaway is a 27.9% usage rate, Matt, 9.6 fantasy point per minute. Jalen Brunson, who I would be interested to see if he gets the start. I don't know if they're going to put Burke at point guard. But Jalen Brunson last year was a 1.06 fantasy point per minute in these types of situations, a 24.5% usage rate.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a lot of interest in Maxi Kleber remains probable. Okay.
Yeah, you can load up on the power forwards from this team.
So, yeah, I see Brunson already sitting at 13 minutes, and that is without Luka's minutes. So if I see that Brunson probably gets 24 to 26 minutes and he's starting, he's 100% going to be a lock. I think that I would be most interested in, like I keep reiterating and saying, Trey Burke and Jalen Brunson. I think that's where I'm going to land on.
Yeah.
Tim Hardaway is going to be a fantastic play. Josh Richardson's going to be a good play. It's now officially Dallas Chalk night.
That's one thing to kind of to look at, TJ, is Josh Richardson at $5,000. We don't really know what that's going to look like, but we can only assume it's going to benefit him and somebody like Tim Hardaway. I feel like they're going to share a lot of shooting tonight. And then you got to load up on the power forwards just because you got to assume the usage is going to go up for them as well. Again, Doncic was carrying near 40% usage with just Porzingis off the floor, and now you're looking at all that usage going elsewhere. It has to be sucked up by some of these guys like Josh Richardson and Tim Hardaway, and then also Brunson if he does start, which we don't know yet. We don't know the starting lineup yet, but once we know that, I think we'll have a better understanding of where the ownership's going to go and also the usage.
It kind of stinks that they are at 8 o'clock. I wish they were playing early here, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So, I mean, Powell gets a nice usage bump. Obviously, Josh Richardson, DFS does as well. He gets a 4.8% usage bump. Powell gets a 3.5% usage bump. Kleber is still probable, but I'm not going to be too interested.
I just saw somebody's comment, guys. If you guys, if we have any mods in the chat, could you remove that comment, please?
Is it?
Just it's rated R. I got you. I think I got it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's okay. I kind of funny, but you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
Leave that screen. Kevin Herter questionable for Monday. That is irrelevant. Okay, so Matt, let's get back on track here. Let's wait for these minutes to get dispersed. I think we should probably get to some questions here.
Yeah, so that's another good point. We're going to try to end the stream by about 5:15, 5:20-ish, so I can update everything on Patreon. For anybody who is late to the party, please spam your favorite contrarian play. I still have it in my head, and I haven't seen it yet, so you guys still all have a shot for a $10 giveaway. Also, this is one thing we do in the live stream. Once somebody is rolled out, we give you guys a favorite updated plays, and we will make sure we get to the Dallas Mavericks before we end the stream. Let's go over some questions, TJ. I'm going to go ahead and head over to Discord.
DFS is a 1.08 fantasy point per minute with both. He's on 42.
It's not bad.
Okay. Might have to sneak DFS in there and cash tonight. Got to see what happens with these minutes with Burke and with Jalen Brunson.
And I have no YouTube questions. Say
it again?
I have no questions in the Discord chat.
I forgot we have James Johnson in the mix too. All right, let's see here. If I go to the top here, okay, so we're gonna have a bunch of people saying about the contrarian plays. Best DFL channel out there. Thank you, Showtime. Appreciate the love, man.
Yeah, Showtime. Really appreciate that.
Really bad. Matt, you're trash. Your sound was terrible. Melton playing. Yes, Melton is playing. I'm getting lines with. Okay, so I'm not going to answer that, Andrew, because obviously things are going to change for you in your lineups with Luka being doubtful now. Grayson Allen is playing. Yep. I'm really feeling Kyle Anderson from Memphis today. I don't hate him as a tournament play. Why is Washington guy so low? Yeah, Grant. I don't understand it. Grant's looking at Thomas Bryant. Like him as a tournament play. Jokic for GPP or cash only? I think you can go each way. But I think he's a cash lock now, especially with Luka being out. He'd probably be my favorite spend up at 10-6. I'm trying to. Yeah, I just saw that, Joe, that Kyler got hurt for the Cardinals.
Oh, did he hurt bad?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know if he was. I thought he walked off on his own power, but he could be wrong. Why don't you guys talk tournament play? Okay, no, we did talk tournament play. Sorry, Matthew. I don't play crap for cash. Made 2K with tournament. That's awesome, man. Keep it up. Donovan. Okay, so this is all the contrarian plays.
I'd probably head down to the bottom, to be honest, TJ.
Yeah, you're right. I know. I just want to make sure I'm not leaving anybody else. Sure. This bring Levine and White's value up now. Okay. We don't really have any questions, honestly. It's people just thoughts on Patty Mills.
Nah.
kind of just a moot point, really. I mean, don't really have too much interest in him. Derek White not playing, obviously, bumps his minutes back up at 3,700. I think he's going to be more of a tournament play, though.
Yeah, it's a low over-under as well.
Yep. Covington or Naz Reid? Naz Reid.
Yes, Naz Reid. Yep.
Thomas Bryant or Nurkic for tournaments? I like Nurkic if he can stay out of foul trouble. Thomas Bryant in a good spot, but I think I lean Nurkic, Matt. I feel like you're going to say Thomas Bryant, which I don't hate.
I like Thomas Bryant.
Okay. Favorite center for cash? Jokic.
Jokic is my favorite center for cash as well.
Who? Who's Jokic? You mean Jokic?
Okay.
Horford or Horford? I'm going to answer it again. It's going to be Terrence Ross for me. You like how I kept saying that last night? Terrence Ross is my favorite Horford.
Yeah, that's always going to be a running joke now. I hope somebody comments that every single time.
Wait, so is Luka out? Luka is doubtful, so we're going to assume that Luka does sit.
Yes.
Irving, Lillard, or Curry? I would say Curry for cash, and I would I want to say Kyrie for tournaments.
I love Kyrie tonight.
Yeah, I think that's where I would go. I think I'd go Curry cash, and I think I'd go Kyrie for tournaments.
Honestly, it's a toss-up between the three, just straight-up scoring. Like, honestly, it's going to be Kyrie, Steph, and Damian Lillard. One of those three are going to break the slate and have a ceiling game, and it's just a matter of picking one of those three. The lowest-owned guy is going to probably be Lillard, or it's going to be Kyrie. I'm going to lean towards Lillard for the lowest-owned. Again, I love all three, and I think they all have tremendous upside tonight.
So somebody just asked for the cash plays, and I mean, I'm not going to give them out just because
we'll have updated
I need to wait and see what's going on. Starting lineup with Luka now being doubtful, that changes everything.
I just got some updates, TJ. All right, let me go ahead and switch over to the Dallas picture just to make sure they're not on drugs when these are updated, because this could be a potential glitch. Okay, no, that's not crazy. All right, TJ, so they're going to be expecting that Trey Burke gets 25 minutes, Josh Richardson gets about 33, Jalen Brunson gets about 23, DFS 31, Tim Hardaway about 32. Does that sound accurate?
So you had Hardaway 32, Richardson 33, DFS 31, Burke at 25.
25, and then Brunson at 23.
I kind of thought Brunson might play a little more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that sounds somewhat accurate. If Brunson's going to play 23 minutes, he's a cash lock, 100%.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to see is that he was going to play north of 20. I still assume he starts.
Yeah,
they could put Trey Burke at that point, but we'll have to wait and see there. But yeah, Jalen Brunson at 3,100 is a cash lock for me now, 100%.
Trey Burke is carrying the highest ownership right now, 33.1% ownership. Josh Richardson at 22.3%, just because of the price tags on those two. So do you like Trey Burke for cash, TJ?
Yeah, I think you can get away with him for cash tonight. Again, I would rather lean Brunson, but yes, both of them being very cheap without Luka on the floor. If you have Trey Burke pegged at 25 minutes, again, 1.9 fantasy, a 1.9 usage bump, Matt, 0.74 fantasy points per minute. He's a 5.6 on our sheet. And then Brunson, again, 1.2% usage bump, a 1.06 fantasy point per minute last year in this type of situation with Luka and Porzingis off the floor. So yeah. I think you can get away with both of them for cash now, but I still lean Brunson.
I still do. Yeah, I lean Brunson as well. I think he's a better play.
I want to see the starting lineup, obviously. I don't think we're going to get it, unfortunately. I'm going to assume Brunson's starting at point. And if I am wrong, I think I'm going to give myself the option to potentially pivot off of him to to Trey Burke. So I'll have to do I'll have to make sure I'm organizing my lineups as neatly as I possibly can based off of starting time. So.
Okay. So do you want to go to cash now that we know the projected minutes and ownership on these guys? Do you want to give a cash core?
Yeah, so I think I could confidently say that my cash core now is probably going to be Jokic. I think I would go KD next. So I think I'd go Jokic, KD, Jalen Brunson, and I'd probably go Thad Young. Okay. Especially because I think this game's going to be more competitive now with Luka out. You can throw in Josh Richardson in there. You can throw in Trey Burke in there as long as those minutes are going to be accurate. I want to see them get up. I want to see them get updated on Roto. But yeah, I think because they still have Luka pegged at 35 minutes. I think Josh Richardson's going to be in play. Yeah, Trey Burke, DFS, Hardaway. You can have four you can have 4 Dallas guys tonight in cash and feel confident in it.
Yeah, for sure. Possibly even 5, honestly, if they expect this to go over the over-under. But yeah.
I think you could if you needed to.
Yeah, so my cash core is going to be Trey Burke, Zach LaVine, Jokic. No, I'm not reading down the ownership, and also Brunson. I think both of those point guards are in smash spots. Depending on who gets higher minutes, it's going to be more chalky, obviously. And we expect that to be Brunson because he's going to be in the starting lineup. So that's why I think those minute projections are a little bit off. But those guys are definitely in the smash spot. I think Zach LaVine now benefits greatly, TJ, because we talked about it when he plays in close games. I think this should be a close game.
I agree.
It's a game of trash bags, so he's going to benefit the most here. Zach LaVine is definitely in the smash spot tonight.
Yeah, Matt, I also agree with you there with that LaVine play. I like that a lot.
Yeah, $7,300. You're getting a discount on a guy that has the highest usage rate on the team by far. And in general, 34% is very high. Reminds me of somebody like DeRozan for the Spurs. It's just like when there's nobody left on the team, he does everything. So definitely like that when he plays minutes. All right. Could you start Trey Burke and Brunson at minimal price and then load up on stars? Absolutely. I prefer that actually for cash. I think cash, that is a very safe option. Can you throw up some favorite tournament plays? Yes. So let me, I talked about this. My favorite pay up contrarian plays are going to be Steph, even though he's not very contrarian. It's going to be Damian Lillard and Kyrie Irving. Also, Kevin Durant looks a little contrarian, but like TJ said, that's almost a cash lock because he's in a great spot yet again, a pace up spot, and he benefits off of rebounds, assists, points, everything. He's a do-it-all player. So definitely like him as a core / GPP option. How many Mavs do I play in GPP? We just said that. So I think you can play up to 5. I don't recommend that, but I think 3 to 4 is a nice area where you can play Mav players and get away with it, especially in smaller tourneys.
But there's so much value now that now I don't know what to do. I mean, you can pay up for, you can conduct cash lineups with Jokic, Curry, and KD. You can get LaVine in there too. I mean, there's endless possibilities now with this Dallas value. If you want to go Matt, I'm still seeing Westbrook at 3% owned. I don't know if you have an option. Love him as a.
It's another. You can throw him in the conversation with Lillard, Steph. He's at 20% now, so that's a little bit more reasonable. But 20% is still really low on the guy that, I mean, his usage is through the roof. He's a triple double monster. Again, throw him in the conversation with Steph, Jokic, all those pay up options. I mean, I could easily see Russell Westbrook being the highest, just straight up best player on the slate, TJ, especially if the Washington Wizards do keep it close and possibly win this game.
I have a build right now, actually, where I have 4 Dallas Mavericks, and
I can probably get behind that.
Yeah, don't hate it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to jump on the Dallas Mavericks board. That's going to be my double up build for sure. So let's get through a couple more questions. I will announce the winner. It's kind of funny, TJ. I was scrolling down. Guess who was the first person to get it? Grant, you annoy me so much, man. So Thomas Bryant.
No.
What's that?
Yeah, no, don't give Grant.
I know, I don't want to, but he did win. So Thomas Bryant here at 3.6% is my favorite contrarian play, especially since everybody's paying up at the center position. 6.6K is really cheap. Also, if you guys haven't signed up for Prize Picks, use the promo code DGF. We gave away a free prize pick on Twitter. I will just tell you right now. Right now, Thomas Bryant on Prize Picks is at a 29-point projection, way too low, especially since they do scoring on FanDuel. You're awarded more for double doubles, I believe. No, you're awarded more for double doubles and triple doubles on Draftkings. For FanDuel, you are not, I believe. There's some kind of discrepancy where it's more conservative for FanDuel. So 29 is very easy to get to for Thomas Bryant. I really like that price point. Again, that is my favorite prize pick. If you guys want to go over there, DGF is the sign up code. Favorite 5 to 6K tournament play. Do you have anybody in mind, TJ?
5 to 6K, my favorite tournament play. It would. I really like Ibaka. He's showing 20% own. I think that ownership's kind of down a little bit, but I do like Ibaka. Again, a guy that needs to stay out of foul trouble. Yeah, that's where that'd probably be my favorite play. I'm gonna sneeze.
You all right? You dying over there?
I sneeze, but I didn't sneeze. I don't know what happened. Josh Richardson ownership through the roof now. Through the roof, Josh. I feel like a DJ. Yeah.
I like Naz Reid. Naz Reid at 5.5. His ownership is also very, very low. Still 5.5K with Cat out. His usage is through the roof, 9.6% ownership. I also like D'Lo as another favorite GPP option if you guys want to use D'Lo. He is still the highest usage rate guy on that team, and we've seen him have some terrible stretches of games, but they have all been blowouts. So again, if this game does stay close, I do like him. Same thing as Zach LaVine.
Why do I feel like DFS is still going to go under-owned?
He always does.
4,200.
He always does.
Yeah. I feel like he's not going to be a cash necessity, but I feel like he's going to be in a fantastic spot.
Yeah. He's a fantastic GPP option. DFS will be one of the best GPP options. And I think, TJ, I'm going to wrap up this stream if that's okay with you.
Yep, that's fine.
All right. So last minute updates: Trey Burke and Jalen Brunson just jumped to the top, 37.1%, which is what we thought here. Brunson 31.9% owned, and Josh Richardson at 28.1% owned. So just like we thought, pair those 2 point guards for cash, and then Jokic I think is a good cash core. Anybody else you'd throw in there, TJ?
Yep. I like the LaVine call, Matt.
Okay.
I like AD. I think Thad Young's viable, but I do like this Dallas. I do like this Dallas value, obviously.
All right. Let's go ahead and end this stream, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. With all that being said, let's cash.
Love you guys.